I am content creator Claudine Francois and the founder of In Good Clean Taste. I am dedicated to helping women entrepreneurs design a healthy lifestyle by incorporating healthy, delicious tools, tips, and resources that empower their inner and outer game. Every episode, my featured guest and I share our healthy, delicious lifestyle journey on my globally recognized show, Healthy, Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine. Hello, and thank you for being here on Healthy, Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine. I am content creator and functional medicine practitioner, Claudine Francois. If your health is suffering or if you're feeling overwhelmed to take, I would like to be of service. I am currently offering a complimentary 45-minute session, and you can get the link below and in the comments as well. Now, let's get to today's show. How to overcome chronic illness, unconventional truth. I am so excited to bring up today's guest. She has an amazing story and she does incredible work. And I'm going to bring her up from the green room in just a moment, but let me tell you a little bit about her. Heather Gray is a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner who specializes in supporting clients with chronic illnesses such as Lyme disease, celiac disease, Hashimoto's, and endometriosis. With over 27 years of personal experience, she understands the struggles of living with these conditions and is dedicated to helping others find relief. Her personalized approach to functional diagnostic nutrition and as a bioenergetic practitioner has helped countless clients reduce inflammation in the body and brain, improve gut health, and achieve optimal wellness. She has seen significant weight loss, decreased pain, and improved mental health and increased energy in her clients. Oh my goodness, gonna bring her up. Hello. Oh, there she is. Hi.
I am. Hello.
Welcome. So excited to have you here. Thank you for being here.
What an awesome name you have. I could just continue to say it. Claudine Francois. Francois. It's so pretty.
Thank you so much. And you said it correctly, which is unusual.
Oh, yeah. No, I heard it once and I was practicing it while I was in the back room there. So I was like, Claudine Francois.
Merci beaucoup.
Yay.
Well, I am going to start by asking you what I ask all my guests, which is, what does a healthy, delicious lifestyle mean to you?
Oh my gosh. It means thinking outside of the box, not getting stuck in the boring and what you can't have, and opening and experimenting with new stuff every day, whether it's food or experiences or new people. Like, if your world is dull and boring and you feel like, even on a food sensitivity test, right? I feel like those usually helped me get the most about broadening my palate a little bit more, because I had to think outside the box and get really creative with a lot of the cooking stuff that I did in the kitchen. So when we focus on things that we can't have, it makes life dull and boring. When we focus on things that we can have, it's amazing what a difference in that mind switch can help.
That is such a great perspective, because I too can get caught up in when I do my food sensitivity. Oh, I can't have this. I mean, my latest one, I couldn't have garlic. I'm a garlic fiend. It was like, are you kidding me? But then I realized, wow, I can use ginger in new ways. I can have garlic infused olive oil. There are all these other ways that I already think of myself as pretty adventurous in the kitchen. But you're right. It gets you out of the ordinary. It gets you out of your normal routine and gets you thinking more broadly. Thank you for that perspective. That was awesome.
Absolutely.
Yay. Okay. You have some amazing tips, and we only have a short amount of time. I want to make sure we get to them. So your first tip is, when you don't plan, you plan to fail. Setting yourself up for wins is huge when making long-term health changes. First off, I would love it if you could tell the community a little bit about your health story, because I think it's really powerful and it will kind of help set the stage for what we're going to talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I usually start off with the talk of saying I was basically born full of shit. So I was 4 years old, sitting on the potty, right? So long that my feet that were dangling would fall asleep. Turns out that was right around the time my uncle had committed suicide. And I think I had activated my celiac at the time. So I was undiagnosed celiac. So you've got some early childhood trauma going on, right? You've got some genetics at play, and the standard American diet, cue massive autoimmune diseases and, susceptibility to Lyme disease when I got bit when I was 13. So A lot, raised alcoholic, drug addicts, like I said, a lot of early childhood trauma. So by the time I was 13 and I moved to Missouri and was bit by a tick, I was the perfect host. My gut had been trashed for years from undiagnosed celiac, the early childhood trauma. I was constipated, so my detox pathways didn't work, right? So again, just this perfect storm. So many people think, oh, you just get bit by a tick and you get Lyme disease. No, everybody would have Lyme disease if that was the case, right? We have actually evolved with this bacteria over thousands of years. Our body actually knows how to keep it in check, but our lifestyle has gone so haywire that it is not conducive for human health anymore, right? That's why we see this uptick in autoimmune, mental health. Like, I mean, you just, the list goes on and on. It's heartbreaking. And so after a few stints in the psych ward myself for suicide attempts when I was a teenager, finally diagnosed with 3 autoimmune diseases, 100 pounds overweight. It was right around the time my kid was 9 and he was going through his own health issues as well. And I was at the wit's end of just getting diagnosed with Lyme disease, and the Western medicine route was going to kill me if I continued that route, because they were just trying to throw napalm at critters that have been in my body for decades. Nobody ever asked me, what's your diet like, right? What's your stress level like? Are you pooping daily? And I would have said, no, I wasn't. So that's the last thing you should do, is throw tons of antibiotics to cook crap off of people who isn't pooping on a regular basis. Like, that is a recipe for disaster. And that's when I found FDN. I heard the founder of Reed talk about opening detox pathways. Are your hormones balanced? What's your gut like? All these things. I was a hairstylist at the time. I didn't have a background in health, but intuitively that made sense to me. And I was like, that's it. That's my answer. And sure enough, after going through the program and within 3 months of implementing the FDN way, my life had completely turned around. Granted, there was more to the story of different layers that needed to be peeled back out throughout the years. And that's when I became a bioenergetic practitioner, but more into that later. But, just that I'm still a huge proponent of, you can't skip the foundations and you have to stop focusing on treatment, because you might feel better for a short period of time, but if you don't actually address what made you a good host to begin with, you're going to end up right back there again. And I've relapsed several times, so I'm speaking from personal experience. I've cleaned myself up and relapsed, and cleaned myself up and relapsed, I think 3 or 4 times. And then now this time, it's been 3 solid years. No Lyme flares, no autoimmune flares, even after I got COVID, even through my second divorce. So high stress, right? And I've managed to keep everything at bay because I still keep those foundations in check.
Oh my gosh, there's so much you said in there that we could talk about. And obviously, we want to talk about how to plan to not fail, how to plan to succeed. But I really want to, before we do touch on that, I want to kind of highlight what you said about making yourself a good host, making ourselves a good host, because so many of us don't realize that our daily lives, the way we're living our lives, not only the food, the stress, the lifestyle choices, the air we breathe, the water we drink, we are setting ourselves up for challenges so that when something comes our way, our body doesn't have the energy or the wherewithal to address it. And you saying that you had this undiagnosed celiac for so many years and then you got bit by a tick. I don't think a lot of people realize not only are there options for when you have been diagnosed with something, there are also options to avoid having the effects of being diagnosed from something.
Amen. An ounce of prevention is everything. God, I wish I could get, younger kids to hear me. Yeah, I was kind of trying to work with kids for a little while, and I got out of it very quickly because the mom, right off the bat, when I told her, you need to cook for your kid, like, I thought she was going to lose it. And she's like, I don't have time for that. And blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you just told me your kid was suicidal, that he was in a blah, 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 all these things, my heart just exploded. So a lot of times when you're working with people, sometimes it can be hard enough to get one person compliant on board, let alone the family, which is what needs to happen when you're working with kids. But an ounce of prevention, right? Like, a lot of this stuff can be reversed, but it's so sad that we're just taking it. It's like that frog in the pot analogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, the temperature just keeps going up and up and up, and people are cooking to death, and they don't even realize that they can hop out of the pot. And so that's part of the reason I do what I do, is because it's like, no, just because you've been diagnosed with all this crap doesn't mean that it's not reversible and you can go back to living a normal, healthy, and I shouldn't even say normal, because what the hell is that? But a healthy, right, active, symptom-free lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had given me this link for some pill boxes, which I'll just kind of give an example. Like this is my pill box, obviously. Tuesday, it's, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I've used mine so much the cute little things wore off. But how does this help you?
If first of all, to try to stumble through bottles every single morning, right? And how many I take and how many I take and how many I take. And then if you're mobile, like for the most part, I'm not. I work from home. I've made a lifestyle that works for me, because if I have to work 40 hours outside of the home, I get sick. I'm around too many EMFs. I could be in a moldy building. I'm not, I don't have access to my healthy water. I don't have access, you get the point. But there are times when I do have to leave or travel, right? And having that convenience of this day's out, this day's out, this day's out, instead of running out of time, you ran out the door, you've done what you did. If you take that, what does it take me? 20 minutes on a Sunday morning, right? To refill my pill bottle. And then I'm set for the rest of the week. Like, I know I'm going to take my stuff, because if you don't, right, if you got your bottles somewhere else, you're not going to remember to take them. Or there's so many different things that get into the way that these little life hacks, you're setting yourself up to win. And that's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, such a good reminder, setting ourselves up to win. And I think part of it comes down to, as women, we're so focused on helping other people a lot of the times. And if we can, like you said, 20 minutes out of your Sunday to set yourself up, whether it's prepping a meal, whether it is doing your vitamins for the week, just so you have the nutrients that you need to get through. Even if it's, taking 5 minutes in the morning just to do a quick meditation, or just to sit quietly and breathe, because so many of us forget to breathe during the day. Yes, setting yourself up to succeed. I love that. So your next tip, oh my gosh. So it is, don't skip the foundations. Just because it may seem simple does not mean it is not powerful. So what are you seeing with your clients that they're like, that's too basic, I don't need to do that? Tell me about what are the foundations that you're seeing people just dismiss because they're too simple?
All of it. It's funny. I even have a girl on my website on the testimonial, and she says it was like a miracle. And it's not a miracle. It's just the how-to guide of how to take care of your body. We have artificial lighting, and so we stay up way past our bedtime than we should, right? And when we do that, our liver and our brain doesn't get a chance to detox properly, because our body only detoxes at certain times in the night when you're asleep. So if you skip those times, then you skip a very important part of health and wellness, right? We got to detox. And so her detox bucket was full. And so, just wrangling it in of, okay, and it starts with setting yourself up. So actually, to get the best night's sleep, you start first thing in the morning by getting first morning light hitting your eyes, right? Helping to balance that circadian rhythm. And then, in the evening, I had her start wearing her blue blocking glasses the minute the sun went down, and lowering the temperature in the house, and just prepping the body of like, okay, it's now getting time for bed, instead of this, we run, we're on devices, we're in light, and then we just lay in bed and we wonder why we can't turn it off. We haven't set ourselves up to win. Our body loves cycles and rituals and habits, right? We totally. So when we skip all that, it's funny that, and usually within like a week or two, but like if I got a person who really, really has a hard time sleeping, one of the best hacks ever, literally plan a camping trip for 7 days. You'll come back, your circadian rhythm will be completely put back into balance, because there's no choice. You got feet on the ground, you're getting the right kind of sun, daylight, the temperature, like everything, you're getting back into harmony with nature, which us silly ass humans forgot that we're a part of that.
It's interesting that you bring up sleep, because I feel like in my practice as well, sleep is the thing that most of us discard because we think, I think you mentioned this actually in your book, which we'll get to in a minute, which is I'll sleep when I'm dead. So
Yeah.
how many of us have said we will sleep when we're dead, when actually we're hastening our eventual demise? Like we're actually bringing death closer to us by not getting enough sleep. And what I see with my clients is when they don't get enough sleep, the next morning, they are craving the sweet and salty, the sugary, the comfort foods, right? And they're getting this blood sugar dysregulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, need the caffeine, need the croissant or the the muffin from Costco. I've seen my son's on a soccer team. The kids will eat these big old muffins from Costco with like all the sugar and the gluten and all the things. And I'm just like, why are you doing this to your child?
Oh my gosh. There was when my kid was younger, I volunteered as a lunch lady a couple days a week. And I wanted to cry every time I left there because it was like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, green beans out of a can, and, like mandarin oranges in that sugary syrup crap. Like it was none of it was alive. None of it had any nutrient value to it. And it's like, no wonder these kids are getting slammed with ADHD tags because their sugar spikes and then they, drop and then now they can't focus. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, and compared to the lunches I've seen, that's a good lunch. Yes. So it may seem simple, but that does not mean it is not powerful. Doing the basics, getting your sleep. I don't think we can harp on that one enough. Harp's not the right word, but we can't impress upon people enough, emphasize enough. Yes, that's a good one.
Well, that's the whole dress for success model of FDN. It's diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, supplementation. And so many people want to start with, that's treatment, right? Supplements, whether it be supplements or whether it's drugs or whether it's surgery, they're starting with the last piece first, right? And you can't supplement your way out of a bad diet. You can't supplement your way out of a bad, gym, lack of exercise. You can't supplement your way out of a crappy night's sleep. So all that stuff needs to come into place, and diet is also huge. It's my biggest passion. And that's why I've got a cooking series. That's why I'm constantly talking about diet, because I've seen it all too often of people, I've done this and I've done that. I'm like, well, what are you eating? Oh, blah. I knew a client who did the whole 9-month Cellcore protocol for Lyme disease and mold, and their practitioner never talked to her about diet. And she was still feeling like crap. I thought my head was going to explode. I'm like, what are you eating? She's like, pizza, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no. And she fought me. And then a month later, she just wrote back just this one line. You were right. I was like, what? And she goes, you were right. She's like, I tried it your way and I'm starting to feel so much better. And I'm like, I want to smack that practitioner, who put her on this $5,000 protocol and never talked to her about her diet.
Right, because you're negating all the work that you're doing. You're negating all the positives. It's like one step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah.
When you don't address the basics.
Absolutely.
And I have, as you said, earlier, that you've had done this over and over in your own life. I've done this too, where I'm like, okay, I will follow this up because I've gone to different practitioners. I will follow the supplement protocol, no problem. But if I didn't address my stress response, if I didn't, I don't know, get a good night's sleep, if I kept doing the things I was doing, it wasn't going to make the impact that I wanted to make. It was either short term or it was, I was flipping back and forth between getting better, getting worse, getting better, getting worse. So
mine was always, I would quickly be like, oh, I feel better, so I can start to cheat. And I would allow, and that's another thing I talk about all the time too. I'm like, you don't cheat on your spouse. Why would you cheat on yourself?
Yeah.
So, I would let I can allow this back in and a little bit of this. And the next thing I know, in the next 4 or 5 months, I'm eating the way that I used to, completely off the wagon. Weight starting to creep back up. Stress is starting to creep back up. Pain is starting to creep back up. And I'm that frog back in the pot again, not realizing I'm being cooked. So yeah, it's a
we don't want to cook a frog. Not today. No, we're not in France. Not that I know of.
I was just going to say, frogs.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay. So here's another thing that I'm pretty sure we both agree on, which is symptoms are your body's warning sign not to be ignored. Tell us why symptoms are a warning sign. What are we noticing? What are you noticing in your clients that they're just not connecting the dots there?
no matter how common a symptom may be, it is never normal, right? It's always a check engine light from our body coming on saying, hey, there's something more going on in here. And sadly, as society, we even have cute little freaking commercials. I've got, heartburn, indigestion, we even sing it, diarrhea. They grab for something to cover up, just like taking a piece of tape, right, and taping over that check engine light. That's the exact same thing you're doing. So yeah, you might get some temporary relief from a headache, from horrible period pain, from inflammation, from, you fill in the blank. But what is happening is it's starting a cascade of bigger things to happen down the line. So when we start ignoring these symptoms now, it's then going to add to an autoimmune disease or two or three, later down the line, or weight gain, or hypertension, neuropathy, like I said, again, Alzheimer's and dementia. A lot of that stuff is made 20 years before you actually start to get a symptom, like actually get diagnosed with it. So many people these days are like, oh, it's just brain fog, or oh, I'm just forgetful. It's like, oh no, that's your brain, it's inflamed and you need to figure out why.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. I feel like a lot of us, especially women, we tend to just say, I'll just push through it. I have so many things to do. I've got to take care of this person. I got to take care of this project. I have to take care of my boss. I have to take care of my spouse, all these things that we just keep pushing these things aside till it gets to the point. Like for me, it got to the point where I was literally, my body put me on the couch, migraine city, you are not moving because you're not paying attention. Like we're literally going to put you out of commission so that you pay attention.
Not only do we not push through it, but we intuitively have lost that in touchness with, because we've been told, right? We've been told by the medical, oh, it's just hormones, or oh, you've just got post-baby brain, or oh, we've been so dismissed as women when it comes to, men will get diagnosed with an autoimmune disease faster than a woman will. I mean, it's just crazy, like the statistics out there as far as how we've been kind of, lack of a better word, but, gaslighted the medical community and just dismissed of, oh, it's just hormones, or, oh, you're just, all the stuff that comes along with it. And really it was our body saying, hey, I'm tired. I need you to nurture me. I need help. And we were just, taught to kind of, push through it and to ignore it. And now women, make up over 50% of what's diagnosed with autoimmune diseases these days. And that's scary.
Well, and even the amount of people that I have seen, and I'm sure you have too, who've gone to the doctor and have had the tests run and they're just like, oh, you're normal.
Yeah.
It's just in your head. And
right.
Not only is that a horrible feeling, most women are like, I know this is not okay. Yep. But they're being told it's okay. And, if they don't find a way to get to the root of what is happening and resolve that thing, it's actually going to get worse, not better. As you just mentioned, people will have a symptom 20 years before a diagnosis. And the great thing about what we as FDNs have been taught is like, we can see the pre-disease markers to see if you don't change this thing, if we don't address this thing, it's not going to go away. Going back to your car analogy, if you don't address that knocking in the car, that sound that the car is making, or that warning light, it's not just going to magically get better. It is going to get worse, and something bad is going to happen. So yes, I love that.
Ounce of prevention, man. Ounce of prevention. It's so much easier to set up these foundations than to try to clean up when you're exhausted, when your brain's not working, when you're, all the things. It's just so much harder and it's so much more expensive. So if people could start dialing in this stuff now at a younger age, my gosh.
Yes. Now tell me about this. This is the castor oil packs that you gave me.
Yes. I love them.
What is it? What do people do with it? What's it for?
So castor oil, the actual plant itself, the Latin name translates into palm of God. And so it's a very healing. And so the beautiful part is, like, the old fashioned castor oil packs were kind of messy. You'd only wear them for about an hour, to where these, you can see they've got straps. And so I put mine on and I sleep with it. And so it's massive help for the liver. They make smaller ones to go on your throat to help detox your thyroid. I put it on my eyelashes to help with the eyelash and eyebrow growth. There's like kits that you can use in your hair to get more hair growth. I'll use it on my face. Like, I'm kind of glad I don't have a partner right now, because the things that I do to my face before I go to bed, I mean, it would be like, yeah. But it takes work to look this good, and it starts, at night, and with healthy, clean products. And so, castor oil. Oh, and I oil pull with it. So a lot of people know about oil pulling, but like they think about it with coconut oil, and you're supposed to do it for like 20 minutes. But with castor oil, you only have to do it for like 4. It's incredible.
Really?
So I love, like, so much more. So love that every single one of my clients who signs up in a package gets one of these as a welcome gift. Because detox is such a huge part of healing, like, especially if you've got the crappy genes that I do, and you've got the issues in your detox pathways, and you're not pooping. Like, the best diet, the best everything in the world is only going to help you feel so much better if inside you're just toxic.
Right. And just to be clear, this is not like go out and party all night and like eat all of the gluten you want and then put on the castor oil pack. It's more like we're already toxic. We need to start to heal. Got it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So good. So good. Now, okay. I read your book. I loved it. I love the chapter that you had. And you mentioned specifically, and I pulled this out because I was like, yes. You mentioned specifically, genetics don't have to be your destiny. This quote is amazing. Genes are the gun and lifestyle is the bullets. What, Heather? What do you mean by that? Tell us more.
So many folks, like, I do a lot of DNA testing because I need to know what a person's detox pathways are. Like myself, I actually do not produce, I do not store, and I do not transport vitamin D very well at all. So I'm one of those that are going to have to supplement for the rest of my life, because just all 3 of those factors made me a very low vitamin D all the time, no matter how much sun I was getting. And I live in Colorado, and we get a lot of sun here. But so many people are like, oh, I've got the BRCA gene, or, oh, I've got the blah, blah gene. And they think that's just their destiny. And they don't realize that the lifestyle, the stress, the toxins, the everything that we just talked about plays into how its lifestyle can be like a dimmer switch when it comes to those genes. And they don't necessarily have to get expressed. Like I said, I had 3 autoimmune diseases. 2 of them I've since reversed. Celiac, I've not been able to reverse. That's something I don't even actually want to mess with, because wheat is so freaking toxic. It's so full of glyphosate. We've changed it so much that our body doesn't even recognize it as food anymore. High in molds. So, I don't even play around with that anyway. But, so many people, like I said, they get diagnosed with these things, or they get told that they have these certain genetics in their body, and they just, okay, that's just the way it is. And I'm going to be on this biological drug, or I'm going to be on this, for the rest of my life. And there's nothing I can do about it. And it's absolute BS. There's lifestyle things like the castor oil packs. I do coffee enemas. I do sauna 3 days a week. I do skin brushing. I do the castor oil, or the oil pulling, all these things I've set into place, and I build my life around it, not trying to fit it into my life. I build my life around it, because without it, I don't function. There is no other life. There is no mom. There is no partner. There is no coach without me at the foundations. And so it's how I've set up my life.
Well, and the great thing about that is that, and here's the book, Needs Gap. And I can't read this small print from where I am right now. the
guide to manage autoimmune diseases and chronic pain, including some fun recipes.
Yes. And it has a lot of great guest writers in it. And I feel like a lot of them echo what you're saying, which is your genes are not your destiny. And if we are serious about not getting the cancer that our uncle and aunts and mother had, if we are serious about not getting Alzheimer's, which runs in my family, if we don't want to trigger the autoimmune diseases, we can. There is a way to do it. This book is amazing. I bought it on Kindle, which I found, I'm not normally a Kindle reader. I normally like a book, which you can get this as a book, but I found it really easy to read on that. So definitely recommend it. Amazing. And you give a lot of tips in your section. So I think that's really helpful for people. So Heather, I know we can talk all day because this has been super awesome. So how can people find you if they want to know more?
Go to the lymeboss.com, and that's Lyme, Lyme, not lime like we're having a margarita. So the lymeboss.com. Like I said, I do have the pop-up there, it's a sign up to get a free video cooking series, real cooking for real life. So I actually take several meals and break them down 20 minutes or less, because again, I want you to look at the kitchen as a fun, delicious, nurturing place of love instead of this, oh God, work, painstakingly, blah, blah, blah. Like, we got to switch the mindset. And so, yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to check that out. Thank you so much. Because everyone who follows me knows that I like to eat. I like food. So the more recipes I have, the better. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to pop you in the green room. You can grab a mocktail rather than a margarita, and I'll be right back. Oh my goodness. Was that not amazing? Thank you so much for joining us. And I want to remind you, how are you going to create a healthy, delicious lifestyle for you today? And until then, be sure to join me for another episode of Healthy, Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine next Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and have a healthy, delicious lifestyle. Thank you for joining me today. You can learn more about me, my products, and services at ingoodcleantaste.com. Be sure to join me for another episode every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific or 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on my globally recognized show, Healthy Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine.